can't keep doing this every week. Another video. Just can't keep up. I don't know what to do. What's this? Looks like you could use some help making a video. Yeah, but how did you know that? Because you've been grunting and crying for the pillow. Okay. I have bad allergies. You're supposed to be helping me. How do I make a good video? A lot of ideas. It's simple. You need to get back to basics. Every good story has a beginning, middle, and an end. If you fill in those 3 categories, you'll have a great story in no time. Have a nice day. Wait, you didn't tell me what to put in the story. Dang it. What am I supposed to do now? Wait, I got it. Beginning, a middle, and an end. How could I miss that? Oh, this is perfect. This is going to be the greatest story ever told. Hello? Anybody there? Hello? What is going on? Friendly service, my bum. No. Come on, no. Oh, come on! Everybody loves a good story. And while what you just watched is definitely a close second, one of my favorite stories in the world is the Miracle on Ice. And they call it that because a miracle is what the United States men's Olympic hockey team looked like they needed to defeat the mighty Soviet hockey machine at the 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid, New York. You see, what happened was Team USA, they were playing pretty well during the Olympics in 1980, but the truth was, and the worry for a lot of people, was that their roster was filled with a mismatched group of scraggly amateurs and college players, whereas their Goliath of an opponent was just the opposite. Like, this battle-tested Soviet Union squad had some of the biggest and baddest and best hockey talent in the world. And the Soviet team, they had dominated for years. Like, in their previous 4 Olympics, they won gold 4 times. And just to add to the unlikelihood of a US victory, 2 weeks before this game, the Soviets beat the US team 10-3. So even the most hopeful fans wondered if the US team could even score in the game, let alone have a chance to win. And what happened next is why they call it the Miracle on Ice. In a close back and forth game, the US team came from behind in the 3rd period to tie the game, score again to take the lead, and then hold on to that lead for 10 minutes. Team USA pulled off an amazing upset, winning the game 4-3 and earning themselves a place in history as the greatest underdog story of all time. But what do you think is the greatest story ever? Obviously, I love that story, but there are a lot of great stories out there. I think all of us, we can think of a story that we love and that means a lot to us. And what's crazy is that most of us probably have different favorite stories, but even though they're all different, I'm guessing they actually have a few things in common. The stories we love most usually have characters we can relate to, a plot that engages us, and a message that means something to us. Maybe it's a message of hope or triumph or love, or maybe even all of the above. You see, the best stories are stories that feel personal. They're stories that we can get lost in, the stories that make us think, even if just for a second, that we are a part of that story. But even the best stories eventually end. When we turn the last page or the credits start to roll, we remember like, oh yeah, I wasn't actually a part of that story, I was just an observer. But there is one story, a story that I believe is the greatest story ever told, that doesn't end that way. It's the only story that doesn't just feel personal, it is personal. And it's a story you're already a part of. And it started long before you were born, and it will continue long after you're gone. But right now, you are a part of it and have a role to play. It's the story of God and his relationship with his creation, just you, me, and this planet that we call home. It's a story that has been recorded in this book that we call the Bible, starting with the very first humans and continuing today with you and me. It's the story of the Bible. And now, I don't know what your relationship with the Bible is like. Hopefully you read it regularly and you love it, but if you're anything like I was when I was your age, I was not reading my Bible unless a pastor was making me look at it on a screen. I remember when I was a student in Mike's youth group, listening to him give a message on how the Bible isn't just an ancient book telling me what I can't do, but that it's more personal than that. And it speaks truth about the God of the universe and guides us to be more like him and who he created us to be. And it was that moment, that was when the Bible became more than just a story to me. The Bible, it became so personal to me that I began to see it less like a book about things that happened to other people and more like a letter addressed to me. See, the Bible isn't just a book to me anymore. It's a personal invitation into the story that God has been telling since the beginning of time. And the story is a story of God's incredible love for humanity. It is the craziest and most incredible love story ever told. There's nothing else like it, and it absolutely has changed my life. From sitting to where you are without a care in the world, just more concerned about myself than anyone else around me, to now standing here, God has absolutely changed my life because of the Bible. And he can change yours too. Because God, he shows his love to us in a lot of different ways. Maybe you've experienced his love through songs or through prayer, or by listening to a message just like this one, or by engaging in conversation with others who know God. God even shows his love to us through nature and the things he created, which is just awesome. But I believe that the deepest and truest understanding of God's love for us is in the book where he reveals himself to us and just lays it out as this love letter to you and to me and to every person who has ever lived. And so today I want to invite you to discover his love more deeply by spending time in his word. And I'm challenging you to open it and to read it, to put yourself in it, and to remember that it is a love letter from the creator of the universe to his creation. And it's a revelation of who he is and what he's doing. Over the next couple weeks, we're going to be looking at how the Bible is also an invitation and how it's not just for reading. But for right now, I want us to remember this. The Bible isn't an irrelevant ancient text or a rule book or an outdated instruction manual. It's a love letter. And it's a letter to you and to me and to every person who has walked this earth. And the God who inspired these words, he's living and active and completely in love with you right this very second.